What if I told you that within you, right now, lies a power so raw, so ancient, it could shatter everything you believe about yourself and the world around you? A force so fierce, it can obliterate the boundaries between your body, mind, and soul, unleashing a wave of transformation you never saw coming. This is Kundalini, the hidden serpent of awakening. But what if I told you that everything you think you know about it is just a tiny fraction of the truth? Kundalini isn't just about blissful energy surges or mystical experiences, it's an untamed force, capable of breaking you open in ways that will leave you questioning everything. It's a power so profound, so dangerous, that ancient civilizations hid it from the world, fearing that its full force would be too much for the unprepared. So why have we only scratched the surface? Why have these ancient secrets been veiled in darkness for centuries? What are they trying to keep from you? In this video, we're going to peel back the layers of mystery surrounding Kundalini Awakening. We'll go beyond the surface-level hype and uncover the deep, unsettling truths that most people aren't ready to face. This isn't your typical, spiritual awakening story. It's about power, transformation, and the path to a profound, sometimes terrifying rebirth. But be warned, this journey will challenge your deepest beliefs. It will confront your limitations and demand that you confront the unknown. So ask yourself, are you ready to awaken something ancient? Are you prepared to face what's been slumbering inside you, waiting for the right moment to rise? When the serpent stirs, it won't be gentle. It will change everything. Let's dive in. Long before the word Kundalini entered Western vocabulary, long before yoga studios and spiritual retreats tried to capture its essence, this mysterious force was already etched into the sacred knowledge of ancient civilizations. Hidden within the cryptic symbols of Egyptian temples, whispered through the mantras of Vedic sages, and encoded in the architecture of forgotten temples, Kundalini has always been present, waiting for the seeker to notice. The word Kundalini originates from the Sanskrit root kundal, meaning coiled, a reference to the serpent energy said to lie dormant at the base of the spine. But this coiled serpent is far more than a poetic metaphor. It is a symbol found across cultures and ages, often linked to divine transformation, hidden wisdom, and spiritual ascent. In the East, it's known as Shakti, the divine feminine energy. In the West, echoes of it appear in Gnostic texts, alchemical traditions, and even the Hermetic teachings of ancient Greece. Consider the caduceus, the staff with two serpents entwined around a central rod, often mistaken as a modern medical symbol. In truth, it is a symbolic representation of the awakened spine, the duality of energies, Ida and Pingala, spiraling around the central channel, or Sushumna. The staff is not just a rod but the axis mundi, the central pathway of the soul's ascent. This ancient emblem, carried by Hermes Trismegistus, the mythical master of Hermetic wisdom, mirrors the energetic structure described in yogic texts thousands of miles away and millennia apart. Why, then, has this knowledge been buried? Why have the truths of Kundalini been fragmented and obscured? The answer lies in power, and in protection. The ancients understood that awakening Kundalini is not simply about achieving higher states of consciousness. It is about dismantling the illusion of the ego, awakening latent potentials, and piercing through the veils of reality itself. Such power, in unprepared hands, could lead to madness or misuse. Hence, spiritual traditions often cloaked their deepest teachings in riddles, myths, and symbolic language. Only those with the right initiation, discipline, and purity of intent could begin to grasp what lay beneath the surface. The Tantras, often misunderstood as purely sexual texts, are in fact intricate blueprints of the energetic body, guiding practitioners on how to safely channel and elevate this serpent power. The Yoga Kundalini Upanishad, one of the lesser-known yet profoundly esoteric scriptures, warns, when the sleeping Kundalini is awakened, then all the lotuses and knots are pierced. It passes through the central channel and reaches the crown, where the soul merges with the divine. But even this is but a fragment of the entire map. In ancient Egypt, the Eye of Horus, a symbol representing protection, royal power, and enlightenment, bears a striking resemblance to the cross-section of the human brain, especially the pineal gland, long associated with spiritual awakening. Could it be that the ancient Egyptians, too, knew of this energy and its path through the spine into higher consciousness? In every tradition, there are whispers of this same journey: the rise of inner fire, the dissolution of duality, the return to oneness. The serpent awakens, and the initiate is never the same. But here's the mystery: if Kundalini is the key to divine consciousness, then why are there so many conflicting interpretations? Is it a literal energy? A metaphor for psychological transformation? A spiritual being in itself? As we move into the core of this exploration, we will begin to untangle these threads, not to give you easy answers, but to guide you deeper into the mystery. Because Kundalini cannot be understood through words alone. It must be experienced, felt, and ultimately, lived. Imagine, for a moment, a vast temple hidden beneath the surface of your consciousness, its gates sealed, its halls silent, but alive with potential. Within this sacred inner sanctum lies the Kundalini, often depicted as a coiled serpent resting at the base of the spine. But this is no ordinary snake. This is a primal force of consciousness, sleeping until the moment you are ready. To understand Kundalini, we must first understand its domain, the subtle body. According to ancient yogic science, the human being is not just flesh and blood but a layered construct of physical, energetic, and spiritual dimensions. Along the spine runs the Sushumna Nadi, the central energetic channel, flanked by Ida and Pingala, the lunar and solar currents. At specific junctions along this column lie the chakras, energetic wheels that regulate the flow of subtle energies. When Kundalini awakens, it travels through these chakras, igniting them one by one, transforming the seeker from within. But this process is neither instant nor easy. It is a sacred alchemy. Kundalini is said to rise when the inner and outer worlds come into alignment, when intention, purity, and inner stillness converge. In some, it awakens through years of dedicated spiritual practice. In others, it erupts spontaneously through trauma, meditation, or deep emotional breakthroughs. The awakening itself can feel like a spark, or like a storm. One ancient metaphor likens the body to a flute, the chakras to its finger holes, and Kundalini to the breath of the divine playing its music. When the pathways are clear, the song flows. When they're blocked by fear, ego, or attachment, the sound distorts. This is why many spiritual texts caution that an unprepared awakening can cause immense psychological or even physical distress. And yet, when approached with reverence and readiness, the awakening can be nothing short of miraculous. As the energy ascends through each chakra, the individual undergoes a radical transformation. At the Muladhara, root, one confronts fear, survival, and the primal self. At the Svadhisthana, sacral, desires and creativity surge, often causing emotional turbulence. In the Manipura, solar plexus, power and will ignite, often challenging one's relationship with control and self-worth. At the Anahata, heart, compassion awakens, love expands, but so too does the pain of the past. Through the Vishuddha, throat, truth seeks expression, and the voice becomes a vessel for divine resonance. At the Ajna, third eye, inner vision opens. The world is seen not as it appears, but as it truly is. And finally, at the Sahasrara, crown, duality dissolves. The self merges with the cosmos. Silence reigns. But here's the paradox: Kundalini is not just about rising, it's about integration. The energy doesn't simply shoot upward and disappear, it cycles, spirals, and roots itself deeper into your being, transforming not just your spirit, but your daily life. One story from the ancient tantras tells of a yogini who, upon awakening her Kundalini, heard the sacred syllable Om resonate through every cell of her body. But instead of fleeing the world to chase divine bliss, she returned to her village and became a healer, a sage, a light in the darkness. Her enlightenment wasn't an escape, it was a return. This is the lesser-known truth: Kundalini is not an escape route from reality. It is the key to embodying the divine within reality. And yet, many seekers still chase the fireworks, the visions, the ecstasies, the supernatural. But those are just ripples. The real transformation happens when the ego melts, when old wounds rise to be healed, when the self is stripped bare and rebuilt in light. You may be wondering, if this energy is so powerful, why don't more people talk about it? Why is it treated like a fringe experience rather than a cornerstone of spiritual evolution? The answer lies not only in fear and misunderstanding, but in mystery itself. For in the ancient ways, knowledge wasn't shouted, it was whispered. And those who heard the call were those ready to walk the path between fire and grace. And now that you've stepped onto that path, are you ready to go deeper? What if Kundalini is not only a force, but a being? A sentient intelligence that mirrors your deepest truths, your darkest fears, your highest potential? This is the secret many texts dare not say aloud. The ancients did not speak of Kundalini as mere energy. They revered her as Shakti, the divine feminine principle of the cosmos, the very pulse of creation itself. Not passive. Not mechanical. But alive. Conscious. Waiting. Herein lies the paradox: the seeker believes they are awakening the serpent. But in truth, it is she who awakens you. This is why the journey can feel chaotic, unpredictable. As the Kundalini rises, it brings light to the unconscious realms within you. It doesn't just open your chakras, it cracks open your illusions. Childhood trauma, suppressed memories, hidden fears, all rise to the surface. Not to torment, but to transmute. And yet, society often pathologizes what is sacred. People experiencing spontaneous Kundalini awakenings are frequently misdiagnosed, labeled as manic, delusional, unstable. But what if they are simply unprepared initiates, caught in the fires of purification without a guide? This is not a malfunction of the psyche. It is the old self dying. In ancient initiatory schools, such as the Egyptian mystery temples or the hidden tantric lineages of the Himalayas, Kundalini awakening was guided by masters who understood its rhythms. They knew that the energy could not be forced, only invited, and that the body must become a temple strong enough to hold the divine fire. It is said in the Shiva Samhita, a classical yogic scripture, when Kundalini is aroused and enters the Sushumna, the yogi becomes free from disease, sorrow, aging, and death. He becomes radiant with knowledge, fearless, and full of joy. But this joy is not immediate, it is forged in fire. Let us now explore a deeper layer of the symbolism. The serpent has long been misunderstood. In Abrahamic traditions, it is cast as a deceiver in Eden. In others, it is revered as sacred, shedding skin, symbolizing death and rebirth. In Hindu iconography, Lord Shiva wears a cobra around his neck, unbothered by its venom. Why? Because once Kundalini is mastered, even poison becomes nectar. That which once destroyed the ego now becomes its liberation. Consider the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail. It represents the eternal cycle of creation and destruction. When Kundalini rises, it doesn't only elevate you to divine light, it loops back down to purify your earthly vessel. It demands integration, embodiment. And yet, modern spirituality often reduces this sacred force to a hack for enlightenment, a tool for manifestation or bliss. But Kundalini is not here to give you what you want. She is here to reveal who you are. Let's address another common misconception, that Kundalini is inherently dangerous. It's not. It's unpreparedness that is dangerous. When the vessel is unready, when the mind clings to ego, when the heart fears surrender, the energy meets resistance. That resistance causes the distortions, the imbalances, the suffering. The great mystic Gopi Krishna once described his sudden Kundalini awakening as both blissful and terrifying. He spoke of intense heat, blinding inner light, and days where reality felt like a dream. Yet he emerged from the experience with heightened creativity, intuitive knowledge, and a profound shift in consciousness. His message was clear: Kundalini is real. But she is not a shortcut, she is a rebirth. So ask yourself, are you chasing the fire, or are you willing to be refined by it? This energy does not care for performance or pretense. She will not be seduced by egoic goals. She responds only to sincerity, to readiness, to devotion. In many ways, Kundalini is the ultimate mirror. She will show you all you are not, and all you must become. And this is the final mystery for now: the true awakening is not upward. It is inward. For the serpent doesn't rise to escape the body. She rises to illuminate it. Every cell, every wound, every joy, becomes infused with divine awareness. You do not become someone else. You become fully you, for the first time. And that, dear seeker, is the hidden truth most fear to speak: Kundalini does not grant power. She grants presence. Now that you've seen beneath the veil and walked through fire, let's turn our gaze to the path ahead. Now that you understand the depth, power, and mystery of Kundalini, the question arises: how do you live this wisdom? How do you safely and authentically begin the process of awakening this sacred force within? The answer is not in grand rituals or esoteric shortcuts. It lies in conscious preparation, inner purification, and sacred alignment. Awakening Kundalini is not like flipping a switch, it is more like tending to a sacred fire. You don't ignite it with force, you nurture it with reverence. Let us begin with the foundation: purification of body and mind. In ancient systems, the body was considered the temple of the divine. Yogis practiced Shat Kriyas, purification techniques, to cleanse the digestive tract, lungs, and nervous system. While some of these are advanced, modern equivalents include clean, sattvic eating, deep diaphragmatic breathing, and fasting under proper guidance. But beyond the physical, the mind must be prepared. Meditation is not just for relaxation, it is the doorway through which the serpent begins to stir. A simple yet powerful technique is Kundalini breathwork: sit in stillness. Inhale deeply through the nose, guiding the breath down into the belly. Hold it gently. Visualize a golden energy pooling at the base of the spine. As you exhale slowly, imagine this energy spiraling upward. Repeat for several minutes, gradually increasing awareness of the subtle sensations rising along the spine. This breath invites Kundalini, not commands her. It is an offering. Another practice is mantra chanting. Certain bija mantras are known to resonate with specific chakras, gently unlocking their dormant potential. One of the most potent is Soham, the mantra of the breath. So as you inhale, ham as you exhale, I am that. This reprograms the subconscious, dissolving the illusion of separateness. In tantric traditions, movement and stillness are both sacred. Kundalini Yoga, as taught in some lineages, combines postures, asanas, breathwork, pranayama, mudras, hand gestures, and bandhas, energy locks, to prepare the channels for awakening. But you need not adopt an entire tradition overnight. Start small. Choose a practice and stay with it, not as a task, but as a ritual. A prayer. And here is where the deeper work begins, emotional shadow work. Kundalini does not rise freely if the path is clogged with suppressed emotion, unresolved trauma, and fear. Journaling, therapy, somatic healing, and energy work are all tools that can support your inner clearing. This is why the spiritual path must also be psychological. The deeper you clear your shadows, the more gracefully the serpent ascends. Consider adopting a daily ritual of silence, no phones, no distractions, just presence. Light a candle. Sit in meditation. Reflect. Let the inner world speak. Over time, this silence becomes fertile ground for intuition, for synchronicity, and for the whispers of the divine feminine within you. And most importantly, release the need to control the process. Kundalini is not a trophy. It is not something to conquer. It is something to surrender to. The more you try to awaken it, the more elusive it becomes. Paradoxically, it is when you let go, when you trust, open, and align, that she stirs. A warning, and a gift: once awakened, Kundalini is not easily silenced. She will move through your relationships, your career, your sense of identity, burning away the false to reveal the true. Expect upheaval. Expect beauty. Expect rebirth. You may feel waves of energy coursing through your spine. You may dream vividly. You may suddenly know things without learning them. These are not hallucinations, they are signs that the temple is awakening. And in times of confusion, remember, you are not alone. Seek guidance. From teachers, from texts, from within. The ancient ones have walked this path. Their wisdom is alive, waiting to be rediscovered. Let their footsteps become your guideposts. If you're seeking a daily starting point, begin here: 10 minutes of breath work, focused on the spine. 15 minutes of mantra or silent meditation. Daily journaling or shadow reflection. Clean, conscious eating and movement. Sacred space and silence. These are not rules. They are invitations. Invitations to turn your life into a temple, your breath into a prayer, your body into a bridge between earth and spirit. Because in truth, Kundalini is not about leaving the world. It is about returning to it, with new eyes, a radiant heart, and the fire of the divine dancing in your spine. And now, as we arrive at the end of this journey, let us sit together, beneath the stars of forgotten heavens, in the silence that follows revelation, and remember what has been unveiled. The truth about Kundalini is not just that it exists. It is that it has always been within you. The ancient sages weren't speaking in metaphor when they spoke of divine energy resting at the base of the spine. They were giving you a map, a sacred blueprint for your transformation, one encoded not in dogma but in living energy, coiled and waiting, patient as the stars. They knew what modern science is only beginning to suspect, that consciousness is not confined to the brain. It pulses through the very fabric of your being. It is electric. It is intelligent. It is alive. You are not just flesh and thought. You are a cosmic instrument, capable of vibrating with the frequency of the infinite. And Kundalini is the hand that plays your strings. We have explored its roots in mystery traditions, its spiral dance through the chakras, its ability to dissolve illusions and forge truth in fire. We have seen that it is not an escape from the world, but a deeper embrace of it, a sacred rebirth, where every breath becomes a prayer and every moment holds the shimmer of eternity. And now you know, this path is not linear. It's not clean. It's not predictable. It is wild. It is sacred. It is yours. But I must leave you with this final question, one the sages whispered, one the serpent still asks in silence. What would your life look like if you stopped fearing your power, and started remembering it? This is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of your return. To the body. To the breath. To the sacred spiral that has waited lifetimes to rise. So I invite you, no, I dare you, to walk forward not as a seeker, but as one who remembers. To awaken not just Kundalini, but the luminous soul who chose this path long before birth. If this journey stirred something deep within you, share your reflections below. What resonated? What do you feel awakening inside? Subscribe to continue unraveling the ancient, the mystical, and the hidden truths that whisper through time. Until next time. Stay rooted. Stay open. Stay lit from within.